Hello everyone, Awkward Car Dude here. Today I'm going to go car spotting again. I have the camera attached to my hat, and I'm at this big shopping center, so I'm going to drive around a bit and see what I can find. Alright, get going I guess. To start off, here's a BMW 745i. And up here is what looks like a Hellcat Charger. It is a Hellcat. Hellcat Dodge Charger. Highlighter yellow Mustang. And a white C8 Corvette. Check out this cyber dumpster with a weird oil slick wrap. Kind of ironic that the electric vehicle is wrapped like an oil slick. And a steel wheel Bronco with Iowa plates. BMW X4M. It's like an SUV fastback SUV. And a Chrysler Sebring. There's a Suzuki XL7, I think. Yeah, it looks like an XL7. And a very, very green Jeep. Ford Explorer Sport Track. It's like a Ford Explorer. It's a Ford Explorer, but it's a pickup truck. And a Pontiac G6. Here's an Integra, I think. First or second gen. First gen, I think, Integra. And a turquoise Dodge Dakota with the third brake light on the tailgate, because those were not, or the third brake light was not required for trucks until later, so then they had to add it to the tailgate because they didn't know where else to put it. There's also a very, very horribly modified Jeep Gladiator. That is awful. Mercury Grand Marquis. That's the Mercury version of the Ford Crown Victoria. And a Nissan Quest, first or second generation Nissan Quest. This is actually a rebadged Mercury Villager. It looks like another Pontiac G6. Another Mercury Grand Marquis. There wasn't really much in that parking lot. So I'm going to see if there's anything over here. There's a pretty big neighborhood over here. See if there's anything interesting. Right off the bat, I see a old Ford truck, 70s Ford truck, and another Ford Explorer Sport Track, and a Suzuki Sidekick, and an old Chevy school bus. And another Grand Marquis. Yes, Mercury Grand Marquis with a weird monster mouth grill thing. Ice cream truck. I believe it's a Utilimaster step van. It looks like a Utilimaster step van. Stanced Lincoln Town Car. No, it's a lowrider. Lowrider Lincoln Town Car. And Dodge Nitro. Mazda B Series. Ooh, it's an SE5. You don't see many of those left with the SE5 graphics on the side. Chevy Venture. Chevy minivan. And up here, its replacement, the Chevy Uplander. With 6-lug wheels. What is this? Chrysler New Yorker. It's the K-body. There's a early 80s, I think, no, late 70s Corvette there. Old Corolla, Chevy S10. and an International Travelall. Here's another Mazda B series. It's a pretty clean one too. Sadly, it's not the SE5 with those cool graphics on the side. There's a Ford F100 Explorer. Explorer actually used to be a trim level, just like Chevy Silverado. You had the Suburban Silverado and the C Series Silverado. There's also the Ford F100 Ranger and the F100 Ranger Explorer. There's two lifted first generation Toyota 4Runners. Those are actually partial convertibles. The top comes off and becomes basically a pickup truck with seats in the bed. And there's an old Chevy of some sort. Another old Ford truck. Another Chevy Venture. So we'll do one last pass through here, see if anything new has shown up. Pontiac Sunfire. There's a 350Z convertible. Scion IQ. Really small car. There's a Ford F-150 SVT Lightning. That's before the F-150 Lightning was an electric truck. It was that. It's a sporty F-150. All right, now I'm at a different shopping mall. Let's see if there's any interesting cars here. There's a Suzuki SX4 hatchback. That's an unusually shaped parking spot. It's a perpendicular to the other parking spots. Cadillac Optic. Don't think I've seen one of those yet. Your electric cars all have weird Q's in their name for some reason. M340i. That's an amazing license plate. Up here there is definitely a Prius. Nothing to see here, just a normal Prius. Check this out. There's a Ferrari. I'm not sure which Ferrari that is. Is that a Roma? I think it's a Roma. Mini Cooper Clubman. What bothers me about these is you got 4 letters on one side and 3 on the other because of the split rear door. There's a Chrysler Crossfire. Oh, no way. Mitsubishi Raider. This was Mitsubishi's version of the Dodge Dakota. They took the Dodge Dakota and put a different front end on it and called it the Mitsubishi Raider. What's funny is years earlier, Dodge made a rebadge, or they sold a rebadged Mitsubishi called the Raider. So you had the Dodge Raider, rebadged Mitsubishi, the Mitsubishi Raider, rebadged Dodge. Cool Porsche. Is that a GT3? This is a GT3. Porsche 911 GT3. Cadillac Escalade IQ. I believe that's the electric Cadillac, or the electric Escalade. Because Cadillac always has to put Q in their electric cars for some reason, so it's the Escalade IQ. Oh, look at this PT Cruiser in maybe the worst. Is it a Dream Cruiser? It is. It's a PT Cruiser Dream Cruiser in maybe the worst color ever offered on a PT Cruiser. That's kind of amazing, honestly. Look at this thing. There's no way that thing's street legal. Not a chance. Someone actually drove. Did someone drive that here? Someone took that on the road. That can't be street legal. It's ridiculous. Then I'm gonna go walk around again, this time in a different spot. It just stopped raining, and hopefully it should stay that way, but never know. Up here is a Saab of some sort. I think it may be a 9.5 or something. Either a 9.3 or a 9.5. There's an Isuzu Amigo. And a Hummer H2. Grumman LLV.
That thing lives up to its name, the Grumman Long Life Vehicle. I think this year, the LLV is now 40 years old. They've been using them since 1986. Discontinued in 94. Old Ford truck. Like probably mid-70s, I think. Ford truck. There's a Grand Cherokee SRT8 and a Volkswagen Rabbit pickup. There's I believe it's a 100 series Toyota Land Cruiser. There's an Infiniti G37 convertible. It's a hardtop convertible, so the hardtop actually folds up and goes into the back. Up there is a Ford Escort ZX2. There's a two-door Ford Escort. There's a Mariner Blue Mazda Miata and a Think City. That was a Norwegian electric city car. I believe the ones sold in the US were actually built in the US, but they also built them in Norway, and it was a Norwegian company. Used to see them all the time, but now I very rarely see them. The Think City, where the I is an exclamation point for some reason. Toyota Celica. It's a Celica GT. Manual too. There's an FJ40 Toyota Land Cruiser. Ford F350 with a canopy that's too small. Here's a Civic Type R. I'm not sure what that is, an old Infiniti of some sort? There's a Volkswagen T2 bus. I believe it's an International Harvester Metro next to it. And then a Volkswagen Vanagon. There's a lifted, can't tell if it's a Suzuki Sidekick or a it's a Geo Tracker. Lifted Geo Tracker. And an Acura RSX. What is that? A Ford Thunderbird. 60-something Ford Thunderbird. And a Datsun 810 station wagon. And Cadillac Escalade EXT. Another old Ford truck. F100. There's a Chevy S10 Extreme. Not sure what makes it extreme. Mitsubishi Eclipse convertible. There's a Nissan 720. A Nissan pickup truck. It's a 4x4 one as well. And Datsun Sports Roadster. That one's seen better days. Extremely beat up AE92 Corolla. Ford Freestyle. There's a Volkswagen wagon. There's the Alfa Romeo Tonale, or as I like to call it, the Alfa Romeo Toenail. What is that? Buick? Buick LeSabre. Here's an Isuzu Trooper. Ghostbusters themed Jeep Gladiator. There's a Kia Rio Cinco. There's the Kia Rio, which was the sedan. The Kia Rio 5 was a hatchback, and the Kia Rio Cinco was a wagon. Ford 500 spelled out. There's a Volkswagen Beetle with Porsche rims, and an old Winnebago, and a Chevy HHR panel. Too bad it's not the HHR panel SS. Those were super rare. This is just a regular panel. Looks like they've also got a Golf R there too. Volkswagen CC. Interesting name for a car. Another Volkswagen Beetle. Ford van with historic vehicle plates on it. Interesting about Arizona historic vehicle plates is they all say 77 on them, regardless of the year. I believe it's because it was introduced in 1977. The plate was introduced in 77, and so all the plates after that also say 77 on them. There's two interesting minivans up there. The Kia Sedona and a Mazda 5. Extremely boxy car underneath the tarp. Not sure what it is. I'm gonna guess either a first-gen Camry or maybe a Volvo 700 series. Could also be an old Subaru, I guess. Also Volkswagen Vanagon Westfalia and two lifted Sprinter vans. And over there is a Volkswagen Eurovan. I stand corrected. There's two Eurovans. There's a pink Subaru Forester with a heart-shaped exhaust pipe. There's a new Mustang in some weird green, yellowish green color. Not quite sure how I feel about that color. Dodge Stratus. Here's something you don't see much anymore. A Geo Storm. I believe these were based on the Isuzu Gemini Coupe. Yeah, you don't see many of those anymore. The Geo Storm over there is an old Buick Regal. Got a really cool lineup up here. Start off, there's a Pontiac Aztek and a DeLorean. There's a DeLorean and an old blue Porsche. And a Pontiac Solstice. Mazda Protege. Manual Mazda Protege. Ford truck with a comically large exhaust pipe. Here's a Saab 92X, commonly referred to as the Saabaru, because it's a Subaru Impreza that was rebadged by Saab. They stuck the Saab front end on it and sold it as Saab 92X, but it's actually a Subaru Impreza. And here's that generation Impreza. This one's an Outback, Impreza Outback, because the Outback used to be trim level, but same car. Here's one of the weirdest looking cars that Subaru's made. The B9 Tribeca. And over there is a first-gen Dodge Intrepid. Old Mercedes SL. Oh, and a W123. Or is that a 126? Not sure. Old Toyota truck with what appeared to be Corvette salad shooter wheels. First generation Chevy Astro, and it's all-wheel drive. Really nice color too. There's a fairly sad-looking, neglected Chevy Impala SS. Volvo 240 wagon. Oh, look at this. It's an Eagle Talon. This was a rebadged Mitsubishi Eclipse. The Eagle Talon. That's a car you don't see every day. And this one is pristine as well. Here's another car you don't see much anymore. Nissan Stanza. First generation Toyota Tundra. I believe this is the only truck that had rear hinge doors with exterior handles. There were a lot of trucks that had rear hinged small doors on the back, but I'm pretty sure that was the only one with exterior handles. Saturn L series, and a Camry dent. Not sure what it is about Toyota Camrys and always having a dent in the corner of the bumper, but they all seem to have dents in the corners of the bumper.
Alright, this is the end of the video. Not quite sure how to end it, so thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Bye.